Good morning, gang. Just good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome back to this week's Bitcoin update. First and foremost, remember, nothing discussed is financial advice for educational purposes only, and it's my view of the markets. Now, it's been a while. Apologies. Admittedly, once again, there's kind of not been much to update. Bitcoin has maintained its uptrend so far. Obviously, we've had a few sell-offs in between. There's been some really nice trades, but there's also been a lot of boring times where there's been no trades to be had. So obviously, I'm coming back now to discuss effectively the levels that I'm looking at next, for shorts, for longs, whether I think this is going to continue or not. So obviously, stick around and hopefully you guys learn something. So, just diving into the charts, I'm pretty sure the last update I gave you guys was somewhere around here, maybe. And obviously, since then, we've had this sell-off back into this previous range, which, again, go watch the last video. I was talking about it. We had a nice point of control within here. All we did was we just deviated the bottom of the range, ran a few stops, got a nice bounce back up again, started to reverse, came back down, and obviously had the sell-off over the weekend, which obviously tied into, all the news events around the world. I'm not going to get into that because, quite frankly, when we're talking about day trading, it's not really relevant. Okay, one thing I'll say about news, and I know there's a lot of people getting hung up on news, is the thing about trading the news or trying to trade the news is that the news will not give you an entry, an invalidation, or a take profit. It's one thing you really need to pay attention to when it comes to being so obsessed with the news. Influencers will talk about the news all the time, especially crypto influencers, because they've got nothing better to discuss because they don't know how to trade. And they will talk about the news because it's good clickbait and it gets engagement. But if you're an actual trader, the news isn't going to help you. If you're a long-term investor, yeah, fill your boots. Pay attention to the news. Don't let it scare you out of positions or put you into positions. But as an investor, yeah, it's worth keeping up. It's worth keeping up with company accounts, with profit and loss, with world events. It's worth keeping up to date with it as a bit of an overview. But if you're a day trader, it's not going to help you. Because you don't know that when some news comes out, whether it's going to react up or down. So it's not going to give you that entry trigger. It's not going to give you that stop loss position. And it's not going to give you a region to take profit. Only the charts can give you that technical analysis. Okay, so hopefully, if that helps you, let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button. Do me a favor. Right, so quite simply, just to talk through just a couple of trades. I don't want to bang on about this too much, but we've had a couple of really nice trades in the last couple of weeks. I want you guys to learn from this. Specifically, I want you to learn from this one because I've taught you guys this one before. Okay, people commonly refer to it as the old Bart Simpson pattern. It comes up, it goes sideways, it comes down. It's the old Bart Simpson head. And I've taught you guys what this is on this channel for free. And it's called a double distribution day. And it's tied in with TPO. My favorite setup. Such a good setup. I do double risk on this. This is one of the very few times that I actually up my risk because it's such a high probability setup. So this was not that one, this one here. Okay, so we had this on the day. So we had this really nice rise. Okay, really nice rise, really nice pump. After such a nice move, really big pump up here, and then we stalled. Okay. Now, one thing that, if you pay attention, especially to how I trade, there's a few things I will use. There's quite a lot of things I use because I'm a confluence trader. But one thing that seems to be reacting at the moment, and this is something we've noticed in the group, is Bitcoin is starting to react from levels that aren't, typically speaking, common for Bitcoin. It's not the most stereotypical levels. In fact, these levels are more tied to the traditional stock market, to futures, NQ, ES, or the S&P and NASDAQ. But we keep having these reactions at these 1382s. Okay. If I give you another example, just when was the last one that we had? Here. In fact, here we go. It's a really clean example. We've had loads, by the way. I'm just trying to point out the obvious one. So we've had this. And again, it ties into a corrective move. So if I snap that on there, snap that back there, just actually get that on the tip, and we've come into the 1382 again. It's not a common level for Bitcoin, but we seem to be seeing it again and again and again. Okay, there is more confluence at this level, but I'm not going to run through everything. And then what we did have is we had a nice golden pocket above us. Okay, so a nice golden pocket. Now, once I start seeing this, and I start seeing this profile on the day, again, this is something that I can't announce this. This isn't part of the morning trading plans, because I don't know that this profile is going to develop. And this is a single day profile, so I need to see this develop in real time. But when I do see it, I always alert the guys because it's my favorite setup. So I'm telling the guys, as soon as I've seen this big impulse up, I'm saying to the guys, it's not the perfect DD day. However, I'm treating the 2 blocks as one. So we had 2 blocks of single prints with a tiny little gap in between. But I'm treating them as one because the profile now resembles a double distribution day. Now, once we're hovering around here, I'm saying to the guys, I've scaled in half my position size, and I will add if she hits the GP. Okay, so I was quite happy to start putting on risk here. So if it was a normal trade, I'd be in for a standard 1% risk on this. But I double risk on this because I like these setups. However, I didn't get the opportunity to add my second part of my risking, so I wanted it to come up here if it did. But I was prepared either way. Now, in the end, it did roll over. It fulfilled the double distribution day, which is coming back into the bottom range. So there's your TP1 back into the bottom range. And then it just got the follow through, which is something stereotypically Bitcoin tends to do, especially if it's not strong and we're going and we're shorting. Okay, in the end, obviously, it got the follow through, just carried on coming down, carried on coming down. And then obviously all the news and everything else coming out here, people panic selling, yada, yada, yada. So in the end, it turned into a really profitable trade, as you can see. Great trade in the end. So this is what brought it down. Now, it's where we stopped. This is what's interesting, where we stopped. So we did have a lot of areas of interest below. Okay, a lot. Because there were some decent support levels on the way up. In fact, I did this same profile on the last video for you guys. And I was just looking, where are the sticky zones? Where are the high volume nodes? Because these are the sticky zones. Anything in between is just thin. So if it's going to go into a thin area, it needs to go into the thin area and it needs to get out of it really fast if it's going to react there. Okay, if not, it's more likely to go straight through. So if it comes into this one here, so you can see we've got a gap here and a big gap on volume here. So if it comes into here, it either needs to come into it and react out of it quickly or just go straight through it. And then you look for the sticky cluster at the other side. This is how we do imbalances, okay? This is an inefficient move. This is what people love when they're bullish and they're trading, but if it starts coming back through it, people hate it unless you are a 2-dimensional trader, and then because we get to fill it quite quickly and make a lot of money relatively fast. Okay, if it goes through an area fast, it's likely going to come back through an area just as fast. But in the end, it came down. So we took out these lows and we came into here, and obviously a lot of people were looking for down, including myself. You know, we had a nice point of control down here. You know, we've got a yearly open down in this zone as well. I don't love this zone down here, but we front run it. Why did we front run it? Well, we front run it because we came into a really nice corrective channel. Okay, really nice corrective channel. So we've got the high, low, high, low. And on top of that, we had a really nice 1-to-1. So again, you guys know me. I love my fib extensions because I love Elliott Wave. Came into a nice 1-to-1. So what we've got here is we've actually got 3 pieces of confluence. So we've got a 1-to-1 extension. We've got a channel. Now on top of that channel, the beauty of this is we've got an extra bit of confluence and you can't see it, but it's time. Time. Time is a confluence. And then this is, people ignore time. Okay, everyone looks at this part of the chart. They look at the price. They ignore this part of the chart. Time. Time's important, especially when you've got confluence that then overlaps on time. So what you can see here is this 1-to-1 and this channel line up perfectly. So if this had come down here and then bounced, well, you've only had 1 piece of confluence because you've had the channel. Okay, if this came down here and then hit this 1-to-1, it's not really good confluence because your 2 pieces of confluence are separated. But when they overlap like this, you've got time. Okay, so as this was coming down, I'm jumping on the weekend, which I never do because I don't trade weekends, and I'm updating the guys. Okay, so if we come back down to this, I'm updating the guys. So we've got, I've been waiting for this 1-to-1 for a while out of our Elliott Wave count. Okay, you can see here. So this is this 1-to-1 here. Now, I could sit here and lie to you and say that's the only trade I was looking for. And I was expecting it to come down here. I could lie to you and say that, but I won't, because you guys know me better than that. I'm straight up, no bullshit. This is why you watch me. Okay, I had several areas of interest. I've just explained one. I wanted that yearly open lower. You can see it here on my chart. I've got a golden pocket down here. Okay, I've got several areas of interest. This is one of them. Okay, and the reason why I trade like this is because I want to see price come into my area of interest. And then I want to see my setup criteria. I'll always say this. A plan is always about, where do you want to do business? Green box. What do you want to see when it comes into your green box? If it comes into your green box. Okay? You want to see, simply, do you want to see a market structure break? Do you want to see an inversion? Do you want to see some bearish absorption on CVD? What do you want to see? You need to know this. I've got several that I want to see. So we came into this, and I did actually take a long on this. Okay? This was the first long that I took. Once we came down here and we started showing a bit of strength, I took a long on this. I took it as a scalp, and I announced this in the group that I took a scalp. And then I went to bed at, I think it was about 8:30 my time. And then I got a notification on my phone, because just after I'd gone to bed, this is 8 p.m. UTC, which is 9 p.m. my time. I got stopped out, and then price went over. So I got a nice little swing failure pattern, came up. So I got stopped out of this one. Okay, cool, not a problem. Not the end of the world. My area was right, my execution was right. The market went against me. And that's absolutely fine, because this is what happens. Okay, all I did was wait until the following day, once I saw how Asia opened and the new week opened. And then we had this really nice rally. So for me, it was a really healthy bounce, really good bounce. It's come from an area of interest. I've got what potentially looks like, if I just hide all this, you've got what looks like an ABC or a WXY or whatever you want to call it. Either way, it's a three-wave correction. Okay, we can count it in several different ways. We've got a three-wave correction. So you've had a strong impulse up, you've had a three-wave correction. Well, if that correction is done, which Confluence states it could be, then we can look for higher prices. Okay, so therefore I want to take a long regardless, but I missed my opportunity here, and I'm not just going to randomly FOMO in at one of these levels, because that doesn't make sense. I've got to wait for an area of interest, and I've got to wait for my setup criteria. So within this, then, I said to the guys, I like this. What I want is, if we are given some sort of three-wave corrective move down, again, tying in Elliott Wave Theory, then I will look for a long. Okay, I'll look for a long. Really simple. Really simple. That's all I wanted to see. Corrective move down into some sort of support zone. And we had two support zones. We had a weekly open, which is there. Okay, and then we had down here, we had previous day value area low at the time. Okay, now in the end, we'd come up here, we had a previous day point of control just above us. So we'd front run that, pulled down, came up into it, and then rejected off it hard. Now, in this time, I'm looking at this, and again, this is tied to Elliott Wave. I'm looking at this as a flat pattern. So what have we got? Got a nice flat. We're coming to the two-spot extension. Okay, so a three-wave corrective move. 1, 2, 3. Or ABC, as it should be labelled. Into a golden pocket. Into previous day value area low. And then we've got a nice reaction. So I've got 3 points of confluence here. Okay, and then what you want to see is, once you're in this trade, and it starts moving fast, great, cool. Gives you that confidence. And it came up, started taking out highs, started taking out these highs, and it's not slowed down since. So I'm still sat in this trade, okay? So yes, I missed the absolute bottom low. I did take it, but then I got stopped out of it, and that's absolutely fine. Fine. So therefore, I just wait around until I see an entry trigger that suits me. Then I get in. So hopefully, you guys have learned from that. Hopefully you have. Right, now, what I'm going to do is hide all this, and we're going to talk about what can come next. I'm going to get rid of the opens as well. Okay, so first and foremost, we've come up into a golden pocket. So if we take a fib from the absolute high to the absolute low, you can see here, early hours of this morning, we came up, we bounced into this golden pocket. Had a nice little rejection, you know, for anyone that was around at the time, very valid scalp trade, short, low time frame. I'm talking 1 to 5 minutes. But as I'm doing my morning update this morning, I've said to the guys, I'm not interested now in reshorting this. So I didn't take this because I was asleep. But we've come back up into it. And I said I wasn't really interested in reshorting it. And the reason why I'm not interested in reshorting it is because this initial pullback here was fairly late. It was fairly weak. It wasn't a strong pullback. You know, we didn't break any structure. Look at this. Got high, low, high, 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 low, high, 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 low, high, high. We're just grinding up. Eventually will this go? Yeah, eventually. But I've got no reason to try time an absolute top with this. I'm just quite happy to sit back. Wait to see what happens next. So what does that mean? Well, let's think of it this way. If price continues going up, the big question is what happens at this channel? Can this channel hold it down again? It's possible. It's possible. You know, it formed here, confirmed here, got a reaction here, was tradable. Another touch. It's possible. It's possible. So I want to see what happens if it comes up here. It might not even get up here. It might just roll over. You don't know. We don't know. And if it does roll over, that's not a trade for me. I'd get involved lower down once it starts breaking some structure. Absolutely fine. But if it does come up here, what happens up here? It's a really big question mark. What happens? Does it come up? Start breaking out? This is where most influencers will be telling you it's a bull flag, and they'll be telling you to long here because, you know, they don't trade. I'd personally never long that breakout because that's just stupid. If it does this, could it keep going? Yeah, of course it could. Could keep going. As long as it gets above that 886, then it's got a chance to do one new all-time highs. Once again, remember the 886. Watch my last few videos that I've talked about this level. Or could we come up here? Maybe deviate out once, get back in, trap a load of breakout traders, and then start to break some structure to the downside. Cool. In that case, I'll look for shorts. Really simple. It's not complex. Could it just come up here, kiss it and reject? Yeah, of course it could. All I know is I'm interested what happens here. It's an area of interest. I'm curious what will happen if it comes up here. I'm curious if we break all-time high, do we get a full breakout and it continues? Great, cool, I'll leave it. I'll leave my long running. Does it come up here and then drop back down below and then we see a load of trap breakout traders up here and then it gives me an opportunity to short it? Yeah, cool. Doesn't mean I'll be shorting up here. Why would I be shorting against strength? I'd wait to see confirmed weakness. I'd wait to see breakout traders offside and then I'd look for shorts once it started to break some structure. It's as simple as that. It's exactly what we did with this trade here. I wanted to see price break all-time high, get everyone excited, as usual, get everyone excited, see a load of breakout traders pile in, and then I want to see it fail. Okay? I want to make this really clear as well. You know, people think I'm bearish all the time. I want to see it fail. No, I want to see it fail if I'm going to look for shorts. I want to make that really clear. So all of a sudden, you've got all these breakout traders up here. Now, comes back down below, all-time high, back into it to retest it, and then sells off. So for me, there's a great short trade there. Because all these guys are now offside. And what does that mean if they're offside? If they've been longing at market up here, or even at limit, it makes no difference. If they've been longing up here, what happens if price starts going against them? What are these guys going to do? They're going to close the position. Which if they close along, what's that? It's a sell. So it adds to the sell pressure. Gives me a really nice simple short with high probabilities. Just like down here, we saw right at the Pico bottom, quite a lot of brand new short positions opening up. Broke these lows, loads of shorts opened up because obviously bearish news, yada, yada, yada. What happened? They didn't get any follow through. So once we start to see price then change some structure and come back up, what's going to happen to these shorts? They're going to have to close out. What does that mean? If you're going to close a short, it means you're going to market buy. Rockets price up. Short squeeze. Hello. Okay. So, they're what I'm interested in above. Now what happens if it starts to break down? Whether it goes up first or starts to break down beforehand. Well, once again, I'm looking at these same areas. I've got a really nice sticky zone here. What happens if it just comes back down? Takes out these lows here. Into this sticky zone. And then starts to reverse. Well, cool. I'll look for longs. I won't be leaving limit longs down here because that's just stupid. I want to see it come into my area and then I want to see it offer me a setup trigger. If that fails and it starts coming down lower, once again, we've got another thin zone here. The difference with this thin zone here is we've got a golden pocket in there. Right in this thin zone. So if it does come down here and starts reacting from this golden pocket, I want to see a fast reaction. Why do I want to see a fast reaction? Because it's thin. There's no volume. So I want to see it hit that and then react very aggressively, very fast. If it doesn't do that, then I'd be a little bit more cautious. Okay? So they're the local areas that I'm interested in. But right now, where we are, I'm not interested in trading. I want to see it either come higher or I want to see it come lower. Then I'll make a decision. Okay? Hopefully that helps you guys. If it does, once again, do me a favor, hit that like button. Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, guys, as you were. Bye-bye.